Apple's has opened up a new savings account, and I want to be able to share this with you guys. So we want to break this down. Make sure you hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let's get it popping, ladies and gentlemen.
So everybody, after months of waiting since Apple's announcement of that new savings or high yield savings account, Apple finally released it through a press release, and it's fully available for anyone that has a daily cash or Apple Wallet set up, and it's available today to try out and see if you guys actually want to get involved with their new high yield savings account. So in this video, what I want to do is actually get this all set up in real time with you so you guys can see what kind of steps need to be taken, everything that they asked for, and anything in between, and then finally compare what Apple's offering to some other financial institutions, because right now there's a lot of these banks, especially the ones that are purely online like Chime Bank or SoFi, that offer some pretty high yield savings accounts as it is. So is it beneficial to go the Apple way or maybe to stick with other institutions? Let's get into it, everybody.
So essentially, before we get started, y'all, let me just give you a little bit of an update. In the same way that Apple released the Apple Card, where it's basically a credit card that's managed by Goldman Sachs, they recently released a savings account. But I'm going to give you my take as to why they're releasing a savings account very, very shortly. Okay.
So I'm going to pull up my iPhone screen over here just so you guys can follow along and I can show you exactly what to expect when signing up for this daily cash
Reading
account
super
or
chat
this Apple
shortly.
savings account. So let's get right into exactly how to set this up. So if you go actually into your wallet, go into your wallet, then go into your Apple Card, and then go into your three dots on the top right hand corner, and then go into that daily cash. So in this daily cash, this lets you know exactly how much daily cash you've accumulated over the lifetime of the card itself. So you can see that it's actually broken down into 1, 2, 3, and bonus percentages as well, which is basically with the Apple Card, to give you a little bit of a refresher, you get 1% cash back on all purchases, 2% cash back on all purchases done through Apple Pay, and then 3%.
A lot of people, shout out to y'all. I'm going to be reading super chat shortly. A lot of people will be jumping into this simply because of the 4.15% high yield savings account, which is exponentially better than anything that I've seen from any bank. And so it's a way for you to be able to allegedly safely store your cash by getting a decent rate of return on holding your cash in the Apple savings. Now, how does Q said I'm gonna talk slower. Q, stop distracting me. How does this affect you guys, in that I suggest that you guys don't keep your money in banks, but specifically get rid of your money in order to acquire assets that appreciate at the very least and beat the rate of inflation? Let's continue.
% cash back on any purchases through the Apple Store itself, so that includes any Apple services, but then Apple also includes some partnerships like Nike or Adidas or maybe some other brands, or Panera actually partner up with Apple to give you that 3% additional cash back. But what you're going to want to do is go down here to where it says savings and where it says setup. So you'll get a splash screen, and right now you can see that Apple's actually offering 4.15% APY on all of your daily cash, which is actually extremely competitive. I personally use a company called SoFi, or a bank called SoFi, and their savings account gives me 3.75%, and it's given to me on a monthly basis, which is actually great. And 3.75% is actually way above average, especially here in the US, but 4.15%, that's pretty impressive. So here it says open a savings account and automatically deposit your future daily cash. Savings is always done by Goldman Sachs, so they're probably the ones actually holding your money.
So Apple is not a bank. Remember this: when you get a credit card from Apple, right? They are not a bank. Apple is the technology, and they're the front-facing user experience that creates the technology that allows for you guys to be able to have a seamless transition between transactions and make it easier for you to do the things that you want to do on a daily basis. The bank is Goldman Sachs, okay? And they are the ones that actually manages the finances, the resources. And they're the ones that hold your money. Now, why would Goldman Sachs partner with Apple? We'll have that conversation shortly.
And Apple's just giving you the nice user interface for your Apple Cash to actually start growing so you can visually see what's going on. So then we're going to press continue. We're going to go through this whole process. It's going to load up. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. And you're going to put in your entire social security number here. You're going to press next. Let it do its thing. It's going to give you all the agreements that you can do on here. I'm just going to press agree. You're going to answer an iOS question that they're going to have for you. We're going to confirm, open the account. It's going to take a second for it to open, and it should open pretty much automatically. And now you can see it says account created. It's going to say that you have $36.18 in Apple Cash. I'm going to transfer all that Apple Cash into the savings account right here. So it's going to do a little thing, double tap to make sure that it actually gets done. It's going to move my Apple Daily Cash over to my savings account. And that daily cash is accumulated by a couple of things. I accumulate it, like I said earlier, with those cashback bonuses from using the Apple credit card, which I use kind of rarely. I don't use it too often. I use it, again, mostly for Apple purchases. But then also, if somebody's sending you Apple Cash via iMessage, it's going to go into that daily cash, which then can be transferred into this savings account. So here you can see what it looks like, right? You have 4.5 APY in the top right-hand corner. You have your total current balance. You can break it down on a weekly, monthly, 6-month, or even yearly basis. You can withdraw your money if you want to at any time. So that's one of the additive bonuses of this Apple Cash and savings account, that the money is very fluid and it's very in and out. It's easy to take.
The interesting thing about it is that a lot of these companies, and I see somebody in the chat saying, a lot of people in the chat are saying, well, why would it require your social security number? Because there are regulations and you have to verify who you are. Anybody can't just go up and open up an account, right? When you go into a bank, in order to open up a checking or a savings or a business account, you need certain documentations in order to do so, right? If you got an LLC, then you have to go and, make sure that you have your EIN, which is an employer identification number, or a TIN, which is a tax identification number, which is basically the tax ID of your business. Or you have to have your social security number, and you have to have your LLC documentation. All right. So that's why you need a social security number. But basically, they're trying to transition everything over into mobile. And I'm going to tell you why this is dangerous. The first reason why it's dangerous is this is the same thing that they're using, and that they're trying to transition you to make things easier. And they're going to sell it to you as, hey, it's easier for you to just do it mobile. Apple Pay everything. Everything is digital now. It's no reason for you to ever hold cash. Now, how is that any different from the Fed now being able to track every single transaction that you have in order to ensure that you're on the up and up? They're able to track whether or not you paying your taxes the right way, whether or not you're scheming. That's how they was able to get a lot of people with these PPP loans. It's some more people that's then been arrested, and they facing up to 20 years as a result of everything that's going on. And so the incentive from the government's perspective, because there's 3 players in this, right? Actually, it's 4 players. The first player is the government, because it's easier for them to be able to track. And they already introduced this into you guys by saying that, listen, we put in $80 billion into the IRS and hiring new agents. The second thing is they're saying that, okay, look, every transaction or every amount that is transferred that equally amount to over $600, then you have to submit documentation over into the federal government, whether you Cash App, PayPal, Apple Pay, or whatever it is, right? You have to send documentation over into these platforms in order to ensure that you're on the up and up, so we can audit who we need to audit and chase down whoever it is that we need to chase down, okay? The second player is the banks. Now, why would Goldman Sachs partner with Apple when Apple is basically siphoning off and acting as a bank, right? Well, Goldman Sachs is trying to find, and banks specifically are trying to find innovative ways to continue to keep customers within, right? Banks care about your deposit because it allows for them to then be able to loan out your money in order to make more money depending on whatever it is that whatever industry that they're in, right? So your deposits then allow for them to be able to issue out mortgages in which you then pay the interest on that mortgage in order to continue to shore up the profitability of the banks, right? So they're trying to tap into a new customer base. They're trying to tap into new younger people. They're trying to tap into people that are a part of Apple's ecosystem, which is vast. Now, that's the second player. The third player is, well, why would Apple do this if Goldman Sachs are the ones that's holding the money? Well, Apple gets small transaction fees. And then on top of that, because Apple makes a lot of money from these transaction fees. Remember the live stream that we did last week? On top of that, Apple is looking to continue to grow and acquire new customers by making you a part of their ecosystem, right? So people that otherwise would have not have considered it, if they incentivize you by saying that, okay, listen, we got a high yield savings account that offers you much greater than any other platform like SoFi, and we're offering you 4.5%, people that are conscious about that or trying to get every single last percentage point of interest while trying to do it safe instead of investing in other things that continue to grow and beat the rate of inflation, they might consider moving over into this system simply because they want to chase the money, which they then become a part of Apple's ecosystem, and it feeds into everything else that you do, right? You're going to get a MacBook, you're going to get Apple Pay, you're going to get Apple Arcade, you're going to get an Apple device, whatever, so on and so forth. And then what happens is they make money long term, and it kind of reminds me of what it is that they used to do in retail. One of the reasons why Walmart became a grocer in addition to just a big box store is because you don't really make a lot of money on groceries, right? And so what they did was they said, listen, we're going to offer groceries, but we're going to make it a part of the big box store, which is one of the reasons why that whole Walmart Market Fresh thing is not really popping, because the whole goal of Walmart getting you in the store through the groceries is to hope that you go and buy a pair of socks, hope that you buy a bedspread, hope that you buy some Walmart shoes, hope that you buy some electronics or whatever like that, right? It's a loss leader in a lot of ways so that you can then spend more money. Hopefully they make more money on the back end as a result of it, especially when you factor in loss and shrinkage. Shrinkage is basically the amount of money that you lose as a result of things walking out the door, stealing, when something breaks, so on and so forth, right? The most profitable part of the grocery aspect of grocery stores is yogurt, perishables, because the markup is generally higher on that, right? So it's important for them to run their operations really, really lean to ensure that they can then hopefully make money on the other side. But when stuff is walking out the door and people stealing everything, then it reduces the reason for why they would have to stay open in your environment, which is one of the reasons why Walmart closed the 4 stores over in Chicago, right? But my point is that they can get you into the ecosystem. They'll make way more money off of you long term, okay? That's the third player. The fourth player is you, the consumer, right? You are now the biggest person because Apple is not focused on the money. Apple is focused on people. The smartest businesses are focused on people. They're not focused on money. And you as an individual, you can learn from this. And what does this mean when I say that the smartest businesses are focused on people and not money? Well, they understand that when you add value into people's lives, you then become immersed in what it is that they have going on from an ecosystem perspective, which then the money comes along with it, but you're not focused on the money ahead of time because that's not necessarily why people do business with you. People don't always come to you and do business with you because you are the best at what you do, or you put out the best product, or you talk the best, or you have the greatest diction or something like that. They rock with you because of the value that you add into their life and the fact that they like you and you're a cultural fit. And so when they can identify with you as a business, then they start to immerse themselves in what it is that you have to offer, which you then tie them into the ecosystem. And it allows for you to then profit long term instead of looking at it from a short term perspective. All right. So these are the reasons why Apple continues to march into other factors or other things that's not necessarily technology focused, is because long term, the goal is to make you a part of what it is that they have going out on a regular basis. Think about it like this. I don't know anybody that initially started rocking with PlayStation that then switched over to Xbox without still keeping a PlayStation at the very least. I don't know anybody that started off with Xbox Live that then said, you know what, I only want to rock with PS5s. Nobody. Because they then become a part of that ecosystem, they clans and all of that. And so even when it comes to somebody like Microsoft buying a large company like Activision, Blizzard, and all of that other type of stuff that's a game maker, they want to make sure that those game titles are still cross-compatible, for different computers, other game systems, and things like that, because they don't want to siphon off customers that are dedicated to that game because they're all part of the ecosystem. All right. So just keeping y'all in the loop as to what is going on and to be informed so that when you're making business decisions, you're aware of why you're making these decisions in the first place. All right.